Thanks for checking out this horror movie superlatives video. These will be my picks for 2001. What you're going to do after you watch my video, get my picks for all the superlative categories, go to your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete's channel, which is linked in my description. Watch his video of the same name. And then if you would like to, although you don't have to, you can come back to my channel, go to the community tab and vote for who you think had the best picks. Or there's also a tie option, so you can do that as well. So off the bat, though, I do want to say, if you could really help us out, show us appreciation and love for the videos we're doing, subscribe to both our channels, do the thumbs up on the videos, hit the notification bell button so you know when we're putting up new videos, all that jazz. We just appreciate it. So anyway, without further ado, my picks for 2001. Starting off with Most Amazing. For me, it has to be the film The Others, starring Nicole Kidman. I'm not typically a person who likes haunted house movies all that much, but this one is very well done, and I know a lot of people also believe that as well. Obviously, Nicole Kidman does a phenomenal job in the film. She plays a mother who has a few kids. I think this is post-World War II. It's like 1945-ish. And she moves into this creepy old house, and there's activity. It's like a paranormal activity, not like the movie Paranormal Activity, but there's paranormal activity, as in there are ghosts that start showing up, and it's very well shot, it's very well acted, and the story itself goes in an interesting direction, and I think that's one of the biggest things that sells that film, big time. So overall, very well put together. When I look at all the slate of all the other films from 2001, I really can't see any other movies touching this one. So that is why my pick for the Most Amazing for 2001 is The Others. Now, for the next category, Best So Bad It's Good film. I do have a visual aid for this one. It's going to be 13 Ghosts. Yes, and I off the bat, I know this is a remake of a much older film. I haven't seen that original film, but I really do want to at some point. Now, for me, what I love about this film, we can all agree, it's not a good film. It's not like, the story isn't great. It's not extremely well made or anything, but there are a few great things. It has a really good cast. Shannon Elizabeth is in it. Tony Shalhoub is in it. And my guy, Matthew Lillard, as you see him on the back. I love anything Matthew Lillard. I just do. I love his acting style. And he also seems like he's just a great guy. So one of the great things about this film, it's literally about a house that has been set up to house 13 ghosts. And then it creates it really creates this, I'm trying to think of the best way to do it without ruining anything. If you haven't seen the film, it does something with these 13 ghosts. So there are people who end up in the house for reasons you will find out when you watch the film. And really the fun of this movie is really seeing the ghosts themselves and the design of them. I mean, it's not a good film as in, there's stupid things in it, like actually some really bad lines of dialogue, first off. But then in order to see the ghosts, they wear these really stupid like glasses. It's just such a stupid concept where like, here, you wear these certain glasses and you can see ghosts. Like it's some gimmicky like 50s type thing where the kids would get out of the back of a comic book. But anyway, it's just fun. And like I said, the performances are fun, specifically Matthew Lillard. The concept is very interesting, and while the script isn't well done, the design of the actual ghosts are very cool, and the things that the ghosts end up doing are pretty awesome. But it looks great. It's a fun time, and I really love 13 Ghosts, so that's why 13 Ghosts is my pick for the Best So Bad It's Good film of 2001. The next one, I don't have a visual aid for, the most WTF film of 2001, and I have to go with my man, Takashi Miike from Japan. The film Visitor Q. If you have not seen Visitor Q, it is kind of a lesser known film, unless you're really big into Takashi Miike. It's messed up. Things don't get a whole lot more WTF than this. And I remember my first time watching Visitor Q, and I think I owned it on DVD at one point, actually. Or either that or I borrowed it from a good friend. But it goes places you are not prepared for. It's uncomfortable. It's very taboo. It's messed up. Think about the most messed up, like some of the most messed up, like sexual things that you can think of that shouldn't be coming up in a movie, and it's coming up in this movie. For anyone who knows the filmmaking of Takashi Miike, he loves to push boundaries. He always has. He still kind of does like to do that. And he really does that. It's literally the story is pretty simplistic. It's literally about a family and an intruder shows up and messes up their lives basically. But something further happens as he's messing with their lives, and the most WTF about the film is what is happening along the way. You will not see coming what is coming in this film, and yeah, it's just very like shocking and uncomfortable, and just you'll be scratching your head as to why this film was made and why things happen when they do, and you're just like, wow, okay. So that's why my pick for most WTF film of 2001 has got to be Visitor Q. I don't even know if I can encourage people to watch the movie, but if what I talked about right there sounds interesting to you, seek it out, I guess. All right, then we're going for the best gore, and guess what? My pick for the best gore is also Takashi Miike. It is Ichi the Killer. Really do like this film, although it is hard to watch at times. The brutality in this movie is very kind of realistic and, well, brutal. It's kind of over the top. It's relentless on top of that. A friend had introduced me to this a long time ago, actually not long after it came out, and said he gave me one. This was my own copy, but he had given me his copy and said, here, watch this, but don't watch it when anyone's around, because if anyone walks in when you're watching this film, they will question you, basically. And I did watch the film. I enjoyed it because the story is actually pretty interesting. It's literally about a hitman who has like a blade on the heel of his shoe, who goes around slicing people up because he enjoys it and he gets sexual gratification out of it. And how he then is pitted against this guy who's basically a mob boss who is a masochist. So it becomes this kind of S&M relationship between the two as they're going after each other. The sadomasochism relationship that just kind of like flowers in a very weird way. But there's so much brutality in the film. There's so much over the top gore, ridiculous arterial spray, which a lot of Japanese films during this time frame and in the 90s did, which I think is always just really like interesting and fun to have in films. But there's so much wild stuff that happens in it. The gore is so well done, and it's hard to watch. I mean, this is not a film for everyone. It's certainly not a film that I watch all that often. I think I've only seen it maybe 4 times in my lifetime, even though I own it. But you know, you got to be in the right mood. But anyway, that's why my pick for best gore for 2001, Ichi the Killer. Rock on, Takashi Miike. You make some of the most hardcore things. Or he did, and he settled down a little bit. But all right, so next for the most unique. And I'm staying in Japan. It's another Japanese film. I watched a lot of Japanese film between 2000 and 2010, to be honest. So that's a bit of a theme. But the film Pulse. Now, this was remade. I'm not talking about the American version. It was remade into an American version. But Pulse, the original Japanese version, is extremely unique, primarily because of how it addresses technology and what it is saying about technology when it's very fledgling. It's basically about these kids who are friends who, one of them finds, this is kind of like early internet era, when people are just trying to figure out what's going on. You know, this is a time of like dial-up and GeoCities and stuff like that, which I'm very familiar with. This is my time frame growing up. But the dead basically start to contact people through the internet. And anyway, it's a very interesting concept. Technology, at least that technology at that time, had not been used that way, especially because it was so early on. The performances are pretty well done. It's shot in a very interesting way. There's some really inspired artistic shots in the film. And it's just so unique in what the subject matter is, but also what it's trying to say. And in the end, the story is really abstractly about, well, thematically, I should say, not abstractly. Thematically, it's really about loneliness and how technology will force us into loneliness and depression. And very prophetic as a film, to be honest. It literally is more relatable now than it was when it came out. It really predicted kind of where things would go with technology in a sense. Now, when you watch it now, you'll be like, man, that technology is very outdated. And a lot of things about the film are outdated, but it's still extremely unique for its time. And it's very important right now, to be honest. More important than when it came out. So that's why the most unique film of 2001 for me has got to be Pulse. Now, on to the most overrated. And this one has got to be Jason X for me. The franchise gets to its final stage of just exhaustion, most people believe at that point, although things keep going a little bit. But Jason in space. And a lot of people kind of that set the tone for a lot of people saying, oh, where's this franchise going to go next? Are they going to do one of those in space installments of the franchise? So this literally kind of set the bar for people just getting exacerbated with a franchise and saying, oh, where are we going into space? So literally Jason Voorhees in space killing people, and the script is very poor. It doesn't look good. The only thing that looks good is some of the kills. I mean, the reason this film is actually, there are two reasons that this film is actually popular, in my opinion. The look of Jason is cool. It is one of the coolest looks of Jason Voorhees. I will give it that. And there's one kill in this that is very cool, which is a woman's head is dipped into liquid nitrogen and then it is smashed into pieces because it's frozen. Super cool. But other than that, it is a boring film. It is very poorly scripted and it doesn't look very good, to be honest. So I understand the love for it just for those two things, but I don't understand the level of love for it, especially as such a late, crappy entry in a franchise that otherwise has some good stuff in it and is very revered. But yeah, most overrated for me, gotta be Jason X. And that leaves me to my final category, and it's usually my favorite category, and particularly for 2001, it's my favorite category because I get to talk about a franchise that I love so much and so many people seem to be missing out on. My pick for most underrated film of 2001 has got to be Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. So obviously this is not just that film. This is the whole Tremors franchise, which I love. It is phenomenal. If you have not seen it, you must. It is totally worth it. So Tremors 1, most people have seen. It's like horror comedy, kind of comedy-ish. Tremors 2, they're not in Perfection, the town where they started it out in the first one. So for Tremors 3, they bring the story back to perfection, which is a very quaint, has a lot of personality town with some really interesting characters. And that's one of the things I love about Tremors 3 Back to Perfection is that they're back in perfection and you're seeing these interesting characters from the first film. And that's when Burt Gummer becomes the clear person to lead the rest of this franchise ahead. Because they tried with, I forget his name, not the Val character, but the other guy. I was trying to come up with the actor, but I don't know. But they were trying to lead with him because Kevin Bacon didn't come back for the second one. And then it seems like, oh, well, they couldn't get him for the third one. So now in the third one, they were like, who do we focus on? Okay, people seem to really like this Burt Gummer character. So you get full on Burt Gummer. And this is the first film where it's very Burt Gummer. And it's so much fun. He is an amazing character. The film still has a lot of really good comedy to it, and it's just fun. The other thing, too, is they're taking another step in the evolution of the graboids, the actual creatures that are in this. They're not just the graboid worms, they become something else, and I don't want to spoil that for people who, haven't seen it. It's about starting to discover the actual full life cycle, or a portion of another part of the life cycle of these creatures. And it's so interesting, it's so well done, and I just don't understand why more people haven't seen it. It is so worth watching, and that is why my pick for the most underrated horror film of 2001 is Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. Please watch this one. Actually, just please watch the whole franchise, and then also watch the Made for Sci-Fi Channel TV show, because that was fun too, to be honest. Anyway, those are all my picks. Go ahead and watch Uncle Pete's video. Come and vote if you'd like to. Do the subscribe and the thumbs up and the notification bell and all that stuff. But really do appreciate your time watching these videos, and we appreciate everyone's participation because we always like also hearing in the comments what other people's picks would be. That's a lot of fun. So thank you so much, and until next time, keep it brutal.